Hey, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Flexispot OC5 Ergonomic Desk Chair. This is going to be coming from my perspective as a musician, guitarist, and teacher. So I've had it for just about a week now, and it's a pretty comfortable chair. If you can see, I'm sitting in it right now. You have a locking mechanism to stop it from leaning back, or you can let it lean back. Now, I saw people complaining about the headrest being pretty far back. I'm not somebody that's going to, pull my head back while I'm working. So I don't find this to be uncomfortable, but when I lean back, the headrest does catch my head and it's perfectly fine. It could probably be a little bit lower, but that's something I can adjust. And then when I come back up, the chair does stay in place. Another thing people commented about was the mechanism is a little too loose. And at first it was. I did have to crank it quite a bit, but now it kind of naturally falls into that spot and then holds me up where I'm most comfortable. You might also notice that the chair itself has two back pieces rather than one back piece, like a chair over there. Okay, and what's nice is they're on these rubber spacers that allow them to rotate slightly as you sit down. The one thing I don't like about this, though, is often when I'm going to push my chair in, I'll try to push it like this, and it doesn't feel very stable. I feel like I'm going to rip them off. I'm sure they're fine, but it's better to push from here. Okay, so that's one thing that I didn't quite like. Another thing people complain about is the wheels on the chair. Now, the wheels are actually on that chair because on every chair that I have, because I have carpet in my office, I use like rollerblading wheels meant for desk chairs. And those ones are not very good on carpet, although I haven't tested them on anything else, but I did notice that they do lock accidentally very easily, which is pretty annoying because just trying to scoot across carpet already doesn't move very well and it would just lock up. Now, as far as for playing guitar, there's nothing here hitting my arm. There's nothing here hitting my arm. And that was another thing. Even with the chair with flip-up arms like that, sometimes the back was too wide. So this arm would hit the side of the backrest. And that wasn't very comfortable. But this, there's nothing in the way because I can pull those sides in. They're adjustable by width as well as by height, which I'll get into in a minute. So holding a guitar, feels perfectly fine, which is great. Exactly what I was looking for. Now going over to piano. So if I'm playing the piano, nothing is interrupting. The armrests would normally kind of catch your arms here, but again, if they're folding up, that didn't really cause any issues on a chair like that. So this is just better for guitar. I would say it's about the same as any chair that wouldn't have arms for piano. Again, it's nice because when I'm sitting at the piano, I'm typically up a little bit more upright. So I'm not getting this kind of catch back like I showed a second ago. It's more like this. And again, I feel fully supported without actually having to lean back or like it's going to fall, which is great. So overall, the chair has been really awesome for posture. It's comfortable. The padding feels pretty good. I would say it's not going to last forever, which is disappointing because I've had cheaper chairs that I've had for a couple of years, and this padding feels pretty similar, but only time will tell with that. The backrest cushion, I don't think that's going to go anywhere. It's not enough pressure on it to really wear it down, and the same for the headrest. I'd be surprised if those wore out quickly. Now, as far as height and all that, the mechanism is fine, but I do have a couple of gripes pertaining to adjusting the backrest. So I'm going to come back here and show you. There's this piece right here that allows you to raise or lower the backrest height. Now, I'm not going to lower it right now, but it's all the way up. And I'm a pretty tall guy, like 6'1", so I wanted it all the way up. If you were taller than that, I would say this chair is probably not for you. It doesn't go any higher. And at 6'1", it's still a little bit on the low side. I would like it maybe an inch higher than that. Now, something that you might notice is if I do this, it rocks back and forth on this plate because essentially it's this top plate being screwed to this bottom plate. I actually had, and I'll throw some pictures on the screen, to take this panel off the front, take this screw out from here, and put a rubber washer between the two plates so that when I lifted it up and tightened it, it would no longer slip. Because I would tighten it, I would sit down, and as soon as I lean back a little bit, the back would slip down all the way. So it was always in the wrong position for me. And I noticed that almost immediately. Went to the store and bought something to fix it. That was slightly annoying. The other thing that was slightly annoying is there are 8 screws attaching this plate. One of the screws is just completely missing. Not the end of the world. It doesn't need, like, that plate is, I guess, more like decorative. It doesn't really do anything functionally. But I was really upset that I was missing a screw on a chair that was brand new. It was kind of weird. Now, I also noticed the headrest would knock back and forth, which it's not now. Again, because I had to fix it. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking the headrest out, and then there's this slot where the headrest goes in. You can actually see right here what it is. So this is a piece of duct tape. I ended up putting one piece of duct tape on this side because the tolerance was just ever so slightly too wide, so the headrest knocked around. Now, for an average user, this probably isn't a big deal, but as someone who's doing music lessons and audio is incredibly important, you don't want like excess noise bleeding into things. I didn't want a headrest that knocked around if I, scoot my chair in or scoot my chair out or go to grab a guitar. Like, I don't want that. So I had to fix that. And the same thing I tried to fix with the back. You can see it wobbles, okay? And I put some duct tape around the bottom bar and through the groove, so the screw sits into a groove like this and goes up and down. Because that side-to-side tilting, I can't imagine it's for ergonomics, but it's not doing anything for me other than I'll lean occasionally and I can feel it kind of rock. I don't know if I want that. Like, if I lean a little bit, that's fine. The backrest, because they're on those rubber mounts, will move a little bit. I don't need the plate on the back to move too. The solution, I guess, for that would either have tighter tolerances, either include the rubber washer immediately, because I think the tilting back and forth, again, that's a pet peeve of mine. I don't necessarily think everybody would have that problem with this chair. Why does it need to have it? I'm sure there's a different way to design that mechanism so it doesn't have it. Whether it be, instead of one screw through a single slot, maybe you have 2 slots with 2 screws, so you're holding the chair like this and there's not going to be that play because you have 2 screws holding in place. If you do that, you still need to make sure there's a washer there to kind of keep it in place. And again, there's a rubber washer to reduce friction. Metal washer I don't think would work. Overall, I think it's a nice chair. I'm really disappointed though. The chair was on sale for $230. That's not super expensive, but it was also on sale. I believe, again, I'll put it on screen if I'm wrong, but I think it's $400 regularly. For $230, it's the most expensive chair I bought. Not by a lot, but by a decent amount. I'm pretty disappointed in the quality of the chair for the price. And I've seen tons of videos on other chairs from Flexispot that don't seem to have such like idiosyncrasies in them, and they're roughly the same price. So I don't know if there's just this, specifically mine was neglected, or if it's an overall, like, this chair is just not to the highest standard that maybe some of their other chairs are. So that was a little disappointing. I am going to keep the chair because I do think with those fixes I put in, I might put some more duct tape around the back plate just to kind of keep it from rocking. But I do think, in general, the chair is going to work for my workflow without the arms. That is my opinion on the Flexispot OC5 Ergonomic Desk Chair. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.